it's time to cover more advanced commands in Tana. And in this lesson, we will do that by using the Ask AI command. The Ask AI is a very important system command that can send prompts to LLMs and generate the outputs inside of Tana. This means you have access to different LLMs from different companies, and you can generate these results as many times as you want inside Tana. So Ask AI commands give you repeatable and customizable prompts, and this is very powerful, as we will see. So let's start this lesson by jumping straight into an example here. So we have this example meeting where we are covering the concept of super tags inside Tana. And here we have created two different commands, which is the recap and the get decisions. And this middle one is just a slight variation that we will cover towards the end of this video. So let's start by running this recap command. And after we do this, we are going to jump into the configuration to understand how this works. So let's click this. And as you can see, we are starting to generate an output. And this output is a meeting recap that is being generated by AI on the fly here. So if we open up this initial output, you can see that here this command has described the main topics discussed and has also included other sections here with key insights, unresolved questions, and follow-up items. And here it's very important to mention that this meeting recap is being generated based on the transcript that we have here in this transcript field. So we can expand this. This is an example transcript that was generated by AI for this example. And based on this transcript, this meeting recap is being generated. So let's now understand how everything is happening and how we are using this Ask AI system command to generate this output. Here in the command section, you can see we have the recap command. And this is using the system command called Ask AI. Here we can edit the configuration and look at the prompt and other configuration parameters that we have inside the system command. And we can also open the prompt workbench, which is going to give us a different perspective of editing this specific command and adding information into the prompt. So let's open the prompt workbench and see how this works, because this is going to give us a good perspective to understand what is going on in this Ask AI command. So we can open the prompt workbench, and from here you can see that we must configure a node to test with. This is super important. So in order to test this, we are going to copy the reference to this example meeting and we're going to paste it into this section. And once we do this, we can expand this custom prompt, because from here we can take a look at everything we are sending over in this prompt and how this is being used to generate the output for the meeting recap. So the first thing I want to cover is that here we are sending a prompt to this LLM. So here we are describing an action that we want to execute with this Ask AI command. And in this case, it is to create a concise meeting summary. And here we have chosen these 4 categories that we want AI to extract and identify within the transcript for this meeting. And as you can see, the output is being generated following these items that we outlined here. Now, the second thing that is super important to cover is that inside this prompt, we are sending over variables to AI. And if we take a look here, we are covering variables in this related content. And the idea is that in this Ask AI command, we can use these variables to send information from this specific node where we are running this command to the prompt and to the large language model that is going to generate the output for us. Now here there are two main types of variables that we can use. And in the context for this prompt, we are using both of these types. So the first one that I want to cover are the fields. Well, fields can be used as variables inside prompts. And here it's important to make sure that this specific node, and usually the super tag associated with this node, has a value for the field that you're providing in the prompt. And in this case, this is exactly what happens. Because here in the bottom, we are sending over the meeting transcript with this prompt. And here we are using this notation of expand references, and inside this field of expand references, we add the transcript field, which is exactly the same as the one we have inside this super tag. So in order to do this, you can simply click on the field and then copy the reference to this field. Here in the meeting transcript, let's suppose we still haven't configured this, you can paste the reference to this field either straight away without the expand references notation, or you can add the expand references and then paste the field reference inside. But for now, we don't need to worry too much about this, as we will mention this expand reference notation further along this course. And the other type of variable that we can include inside our prompts is a Tana variable. And these variables are correspondent to either a specific node where you're in or global variables inside Tana. So if we expand this specific node, you can see a list with all variables. So this is accessible inside a prompt using the @ key. So let's take a look at how this works. So let's remove this node name, and here inside any prompt, you can use the @ symbol to open up this list of variables. And here you will be able to choose from this list with several different possibilities where you can send information with this prompt. So the node name is the one we are choosing here. So I can add this node name here, but keep in mind that you can use the @ button and then you can select from all of these different possibilities here. So take your time to go through this list and see which one of these sound interesting to you, and you can of course test them either inside this specific command or in any other Ask AI command that you create further along the road. And here in the prompt workbench, we have a very interesting feature, which is that if you scroll down, you will see an expanded prompt. And this is very useful exactly when you are using these variables. Because as you can see here, in this expanded prompt section, this is what AI will see the prompt as. It expands the prompt with all of the variables that you use, including fields or any item in this list of variables available in Tana. So here you can see that the action section does not have any variable, but when we move into the context of this prompt, you will see that the meeting name is filled in here, which is the meeting with Alex, and the meeting transcript is shown and sent over to AI. So here you can scroll down and see that the entire transcript is being sent over together with this prompt. And when we run this, we will see what we have already generated as an output here, which is this meeting recap. And here AI has generated all of these items that we've asked for using the context that we have also sent over inside this prompt to generate this meeting recap. So this was a good example to get us started. Now I want to show some more important features with another example. So let's close the prompt workbench here. And this time we will be using the get decisions command. So let's expand this command node and take a look at what we have here. As you can see here, we are again using the ask AI system command. And this time I want to edit the configuration here in the command node, and I want to talk about some of the parameters that we are using for this system command. Now, the most important one, which we have seen inside the prompt workbench, is the prompt parameter. And this is usually the first one that I add inside an ask AI command. And this is the most important parameter here because it contains the prompt expression, which is exactly what AI will receive and use to generate the output for you. So in this case of the get decisions command, we are asking for a slightly different action compared to the previous command. Because this time we are asking for AI to look at the transcript and identify the important decisions that were made with the rationale and the people who were involved in each decision. So from this, AI is going to use the same context, which is the meeting name and the meeting transcript, to generate this analysis where it's focusing on the meeting decisions. Now, there are other important parameters that I want to cover now. So let's go to the AI model parameter. This is also a very important parameter for the ask AI system command. And as you can see here in the best practices, it's the first best practice that we have added here. And that is to choose the right model. Because here in this field called AI model, you can choose from several different possible models that Tana has integrated into the tool. And as you can see, there are different GPT versions, there are other models by OpenAI, and you can also see models from Anthropic, which are Claude 3.5 and 3.7, and from Google with Gemini 2.0 Flash and Flash Lite. So from these models, we can choose whichever model we want to answer this specific prompt. And here it's going to default to ChatGPT 4.0, which is the same as the free version of GPT in their website. But this is not the best model. Actually, far from that. Because today we have several more powerful models that we can choose from that are going to generate better outputs. So in the first example, we were using ChatGPT 4.5. This is one of the most advanced models that we have in the date of this recording. But in this example, I want to cover another type of model, which is a reasoning model. And this is an important distinction here because the GPT series, which are all of these models that start with GPT, they are all normal models. But there is a new category of models which are reasoning models. So here the O3 and O1 models from OpenAI are all reasoning models. And what this means is that these models are capable of reasoning and taking intermediary thinking steps before generating a final output. And this usually improves the output of the model. So let's try this model using the O1 definition because we wanted to reason a little bit about the transcript and about the request that we've sent over and then generate a better output with more thought and more structure. So let's run this command and see how the output looks like. I'm going to run the get decisions command, and here we are adding these results in this key decisions field, which if we scroll down a little bit, we will see this is the target node defined here. And here you can see the reasoning model takes more time to run this command because it is thinking about what it's going to do before starting to generate an output. And this is why it's taking longer for this to run, but the output should start appearing here. And here it is, so we can expand this output and take a look. So here AI has added the meeting super tag when this was actually supposed to be a text describing the meeting super tag. But since we haven't described how to generate this output using Tana paste format, you can see that the design and that the formatting of this answer is not perfect. So these would ideally be indented under the rationale. This would be indented under who was involved, and the same for this bottom item here, in a way that all of this would ideally be organized. And we will be covering this in the next lesson to understand how to explain Tana paste to these different models. But in this case, we are just interested in looking at these key decisions and understanding that the AI model has been able to identify these key decisions inside the transcript and return them to us as an output based on this Ask AI command that generates this analysis with these key decisions for us. And this is a good illustration for the second example. Now let's cover some final concepts before we wrap up this lesson. So one of the ideas to keep in mind is that there are two different types of Ask AI commands. And these are represented by two different system commands that perform a very similar behavior. So here, this is why we have recap and recap2 commands, because the first one is using the plain Ask AI system command. And this system command is going to generate an output similarly to how ChatGPT or other LLMs would generate your output. As soon as AI has the words that it's going to use, it's going to present them and output them inside Tana for you straight away. So if we remove this meeting recap and generate this output, you will see that AI starts to type straight away and starts generating this output in a streaming format. On the other hand, there is another system command which is called Ask AI non-streaming. And it's easy to get confused between both of these because they are indeed very similar. So it's hard to understand what is the real difference between them. And everything you need to know is that in this non-streaming version, the only thing that is different is that the output is going to be generated all at once and then provided as an output for us. So again, let's remove the output from this field. Now let's generate the non-streaming version of this same output. So as you can see, the command is running on the backend, but no output has been generated. And when it's generated, now it's already all at once. So this is the only important difference between the Ask AI and the Ask AI non-streaming version. So with this out of the way, there's one final idea that I want to talk about here, and that is prompts. So prompt engineering is a very important part of using the Ask AI command, because as we've seen, what we are doing is sending prompts to these different LLMs in Tana and then getting our output inside Tana. So in order to improve the outputs that we get, we can improve the way that we send prompts in Tana. And for that, we have separated a section with best practices for prompts inside Tana. So the first one here, which we covered already in this video, is to choose the right model. As we've seen, there are normal models and reasoning models. There are these smaller and more basic models and these more advanced models such as GPT 4.5 or Claude 3.7. So you can choose which model you want for this specific action, and keep in mind that the more advanced models usually are going to provide better results and are also going to cost more tokens for you to run that specific prompt. The second best practice is another item that we've already covered, and that is to send additional information using the @ variables inside the prompts. Next is to aim for a specific output. So this is also a part of the prompt, and it's related to the specific action that you're asking AI to execute, and also to what is it that you want as an output from that action. So make sure that you're clear and that you're focusing on a specific output here. Just as we did in this example where we asked for a recap with specific components that we wanted based on this meeting transcript. Next, this is what we will cover in our next lesson. It's to use the Tana paste syntax, which is super important and is going to help you create structures inside the outputs from these Ask AI commands. Next is to think of your prompt as a pseudocode. So a pseudocode is to use the logic behind a code, but using natural language. So make sure that you are explaining clearly to AI what are the actions that it should take, in what order, in a way that it's easy for AI to understand, because you are thinking in a structured way, similar to a piece of code. And finally, our last best practice here is to experiment with the temperature. The temperature is also a parameter inside the Ask AI command. So if we expand the configuration here, you can see that there is a parameter for temperature. And the temperature relates to the creativity that AI is going to adopt when answering this specific prompt. Here you can see we have values between 0 and 2, and ideally we want to have a value that's slightly larger than 0, because this usually makes these AI models slightly more intelligent, and this is more appropriate to generate better quality responses. So here you see we have set this to 0.3. So to experiment is to try and run this with a temperature of 1, for example, and then compare the answers and see which one you like better, and also for which specific use case. Because this sums up all of these best practices, and with this we wrap up this entire lesson on basic AI commands. So now you are equipped with a very powerful tool, which is to send prompts from inside Tana to different LLMs and then get these results back into Tana in whatever way that you want. So in the next lesson, we will understand how to create custom Tana structures using these AI commands. Hey there, I hope you are enjoying and learning a lot from these lessons. And if you are, I would like to invite you to check out the interactive learning kit that accompanies this course. By purchasing this, you're not only supporting my work, you're also getting access to the interactive Tana workspace that you see in these videos, with the commands, configurations, lesson material, and some extra benefits to help you learn faster and have a premium experience using Tana commands. So check it out and learn more using the link in the description below, or by scanning the QR code that you can see in your screen. Good learning, and I'll see you in the next lesson.